Alright, welcome to this Telegram guide, where I'll be teaching you about Telegram and we'll be learning how to connect, first of all, n8n to Telegram, okay? So you can see it here, we already have Telegram set up, we're going to execute a workflow, we'll say hi, and now they won't reply because I don't have Olama. So you execute there, now yes, workflow, you say hi, okay? And it processes everything, sends you a message, how are you? How's your day going? Blah blah. Well, we're not going to show this, but we'll show how to connect the Telegram trigger. So how do we do it? Well, basically we're going to select Telegram trigger, okay? We search here in Telegram nodes and choose any trigger, whichever we want, or any type of action, it doesn't matter. And we simply select it and go here to connect credentials, okay? Let's create a new credential, come on. Well, now we're going to create an access token. How do we do it? We'll head over to Telegram, okay? And what we're going to do here in search is look for botfather, alright? As you can see, it already appears for me. And here we're simply going to enter the command, okay? We type / and the first one, new_bot appears, right? It says, great, what will you call it? Let's call it video testing 1234 save, okay? We send it and it says, hey, great, now give me that name, but with _bot. So we enter it. Sometimes it'll say that name is already taken, and if not, we're done. We have it here now, we open it, start the conversation to save it here, perfect. And on the other hand, it says here, use this token to access the HTTP API. So you select it, we go here, access token, we save it. If we get this request failed, code 403, it's an ngrok issue, as the uses have run out. Now we need to wait a minute for them to give us back the uses and such, but well, in a minute this will work. See, there it is, the credentials have been created. Select this, name it video testing, save, and that's it. Now select it and you're done. Now hit execute workflow, okay? We go to this new bot, we say hi again, okay? And there, the workflow has worked. And now in a new chat, they should tell me, well, it sends it to me in the other one because I haven't changed all the others, okay? I'd need to change this one, okay? Change it to video testing and so on. But anyway, just so you can see at least that the trigger has worked through this chat, okay? So that's it. We have it connected without any problem. Remember, this is online, and for those who don't know how to connect it online, I'll make another specific video. Alright, today I'll be showing you how we can establish a connection from n8n to Telegram, WhatsApp, or various tools that require an HTTPS connection, essentially an online connection. When we're running it locally on our computer, it's not executing online because, as I said, it runs locally, meaning no one else can access that device, workflow, or whatever it may be. In this case, by opening it online, we're essentially granting access for other tools to connect via webhooks, okay? A webhook is basically just that, a webhook, got it? So how do we do it? Well, there are several methods, one with Docker, which I might explain in the future, but today we'll explain ngrok, which is the most common, okay? And simply what we'll do is search for ngrok. We'll go to ngrok, and from there we'll click on Get Started or click here to get ngrok, okay? Well, it's more or less the same, and there we'll basically get ngrok itself, okay? We can get it via... Well, it's showing Windows for me here, but we have it for Mac, Linux, Docker, and others. And well, here we just need to get ngrok either through, well, I recommend the Microsoft Store to keep things simple, okay? This option, for example, doesn't even work for me. I did it through Microsoft Store. It says, then run the following command to add an auth_token to your file, okay? This is to create a unique ngrok session, okay? So you copy this and then it tells you, publish your application online, okay? Run this next command and so on. ngrok http 80. Alright, now that we have all this, let's move on to the interesting part. I'm going to show you the commands you really need to use. Basically, we start with config auth_token, which is what we saw here, config auth_token. Okay, you enter ngrok http, we'll use 5678 because that's what we have as localhost, alright? When we open localhost, it's 5678 and everyone should use their own. But typically in Windows, for example, that's how it's done. Okay, then we can decide whether to open the link or not. I can do it with you if you want, no problem. Okay, we take this, open CMD, send it, ngrok opens there. If we have it, then it'll tell us to use set webhook_URL to see the initial n8n site, okay? And this URL needs to be changed, alright? To which one? To the one shown here, okay? To the one we see here. Every time we open it, it'll be a new URL, okay? So we put a new URL here, and now we basically copy it, open CMD and paste it. And importantly, now we wait for n8n to open locally, and as you'll see, it'll tell us to open it in a new ngrok link. Important. Now, when we're going to access our Telegram bot, for example, what we're going to do first is press the tab key, okay? Or we'll go to see if there's any trigger. We press tab, search for webhook, okay? If the image doesn't appear in this case, it's simply because ngrok has run out of actions. We'll select webhook, and here you see it says HTTP blah 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 ngrok and so on. So we've got it, okay? Now to connect the Telegram bot, we just go here, click to create a new credential, okay? Well, it's not letting me. I'll wait a minute. Basically, as you can see, if we reload, it says we've used too many requests per minute. We have a limit of 120, so we need to wait. And well, as I said, we go here, okay? We head to Telegram, search for botfather here in Telegram. Inside botfather, we enter the command /newbot, okay? Newbot, it'll ask for the name hello_mellow, okay? It'll say, oh, this bot is already in use. Let's put, oh no, we put /bot, okay? And that's it. Here we have the API, okay? Now we paste the API here and it'll tell us it's perfect. Yes, it's simple, but that's all. All right, now we're going to talk about a common error where you run the Telegram trigger, it starts listening here, but for some reason, no matter how many messages you send to your Telegram bot, it doesn't do anything. How do we fix this? Well, I understand there are multiple ways. The first is to ensure that this happens because we're in local, right? We're running locally. So first, we're going to make sure we're running locally through a platform like ngrok, okay? We ensure that when we press tab and type webhook, okay, a link appears here that isn't localhost, all right? This link here, it shouldn't be this link, but the webhook action link, okay? On the other hand, well, we make sure the bot is correct and so on. I understand that most of you have already done this. Why does it keep thinking, and even though you send messages, it doesn't respond? Well, what's really happening is that the Telegram is sending the webhook, okay? It's sending the direct message. Hey, we're receiving this, okay? What's happening? It's n8 and that isn't able to receive that information, okay? I recommend you stop sending messages to Telegram because that information will keep piling up. And what happens? Later, when you run the workflow, you'll receive them all at once, okay? And that doesn't make sense. So to start, if you've sent several messages and haven't received a response, don't worry, okay? What should you do? Solution. Well, basically, those who already have ngrok, grab it, close it, and reopen it. That's it, really, huh? It might seem silly, but that's the solution, okay? First, have ngrok set up. Do it through ngrok. And once you have ngrok, which you already have a video about somewhere, it's happened to me that despite having ngrok, it keeps thinking and thinking, and you're like, what's going on? I've done the same thing as before, and it worked then. Well, just restart it. Not restarting the computer, but restarting the ngrok cmd, the command prompt, and that's it, okay? I know it seems like a bit of a disappointing solution, but it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed it. Hello everyone, welcome to how to use the Telegram callback query trigger. Basically, it allows us to handle interactive buttons, okay? Essentially, when a button is pressed in Telegram, an interactive bot with various options will be used. Got it? If we go into the trigger itself, we can see how it works a bit, right? We add the credentials. The trigger is a callback query, okay? Where if you select, well, it starts, and as we see, we can add fields where by pressing files and such are obtained, but not much more. It's a trigger to start the Telegram workspace, so it's that simple. Alright, today we'll be discussing the Telegram channel post trigger, which basically activates when a new post is published on Telegram, okay? When in a Telegram channel where our bot is a member, right? It helps us monitor and react to channel posts. Basically, if we select it, okay, we can see that the options are simply trigger on channel post, connect the bot, and not much else, alright? So it's that simple. Alright, let's look at Telegram's pre-checkout query function. Basically, it's triggered after a payment is processed and is used to validate or approve orders after payment completion, okay? Typically, when someone makes a payment, the bot sends them a message saying, hey, your payment has finally been processed. Congratulations or thank you for your trust. Okay, so if we go in, we'll basically see how we can connect the credentials and we have the trigger here without any issues. Alright, to wrap up the n8n triggers, we have the Telegram trigger, okay? For updates, it says shipping query. Basically what it does is it gets triggered when Telegram, okay, sends a signal of a shipment or the details of a shipment during a payment process. This is used, as mentioned here, in e-commerce bots. So basically, what is this used for? Well, for example, if someone has ordered a package from you and it's already on its way, this allows you to send it without any issues, okay? So with that, we would have explained all the triggers. Alright, let's move on to discussing Telegram stocks, more precisely the shares. So if a trigger starts a workspace, a workflow, an action basically makes things happen, okay? It acts, okay? Triggers listen for events or specific situations, and actions perform tasks like sending, replying, executing requests, and so on, okay? In the context of Telegram, action nodes allow our workspace to interact with users or channels directly through the bot. It's like automations, they talk back to Telegram, right? So, well, basically we have here different actions, and we're going to start with getter chats, okay? Basically what this will give us is specific information about a chat message, user, group, or channel, okay? And well, it it's commonly used to get metadata like the chat title, the type, permissions, performance, and other actions or decisions that are made. If we basically select, we'll see that to set it up, well, we set up the chatted, okay? To know which chat to get it from, and the resource is chat and the operation is info, is to obtain, okay? So that's it. It's that simple. Let's move on to talk about get underscore all underscore administrators in a chat, okay? What's this for? Well, to get the entire list of administrators within a chat, right? Here's what it explains. It lists all administrators of a group or channel, useful for permissions and permission checks, sending admin-only messages, or managing group errors, okay? If we open this, we already have the chat resource, operation to request administrators, and the chat ID, right? So the chat ID is basically what we'll obtain through the trigger itself, okay? And the chat ID is essentially to recognize which specific chat it is. Alright, what does the action of getting a member in a chat do? Well, basically it returns information about a specific member that's usually used to check if someone's an admin, banned, or active. It's typically executed after another action, okay? Essentially, it's to get a bit of that person's role and understand what kind of person they are, right? If we select it, we'll see that the resource is chat, operation, get member, chat ID, and user ID. Okay, since we're getting information about a specific user, we obviously need to know the ID. How do we get the ID? Well, through a trigger, like maybe an edited message, okay? Or an updated message where you're getting the information from. Right, what does the leave chat action do? Basically, this makes a bot leave the chat, group, or channel. It's useful for cleanup, security, or to automatically exit inactive groups, okay? If we open this, we'll see it's simply the leave chat ID operation, right? And that's it. We just input the ID of the specific chat we want our bot to leave, and we're done. Alright, what does the action set a description in a chat do? Well, the name itself pretty much indicates it. It basically updates the description of a group or channel. Typically, you use it to keep announcements, group FAQs, and current instructions, okay? And basically, that's it. Chat resource, set underscore description operation. You input the chat ID and the description you want to update, and it's done. Alright, how do we set the title in a chat? Well, basically, this action allows us to do it. Essentially, it changes the title of a group or channel, typically used for dynamic names based on events, campaigns, or group status, okay? If we open this, we'll see the credentials, resource, operations, chat ID, and title, and that's it. Simple as that. How does the answer query to callback work? Okay, this is already a slightly more advanced action that basically sends us a response when a user presses a button within Telegram itself, right? It's essential for interactive bots that confirm an action and continue the workspace. So if someone presses a button, this will allow us to send a response. Okay, and that's it. We'd put the query ID there, right? To know which button it is, and that's all. Alright, what's the purpose of the answer and inline query callback? Well, it's basically used to send search results in response to a query. Okay, perfect for bots that provide search results, suggestions, or dynamic content within the chat lines. Got it. So if we open Telegram here, we can see the credentials, callback, operations, query ID, results, and more. That's it. It's that simple. Well, how can we be using the action to get a file? Basically, you obtain a file from Telegram using the file ID used for processing or storing documents, videos, and images sent by users. Okay, this is useful for, I don't know, if we want to review the content later, if we want to transcribe the video, and so on, right? To transcribe audio, that's what the get underscore file function is for. Basically, when receiving on underscore message, right? We check if it's a file, if it's a video, we do the get underscore file, and that's it. Got it? Here we have a bit about how it works, whether we want to save it or not, the file underscore ID, the get operation, the file resource, and so on. Okay, so yeah, it's that simple. How does the action of deleting a chat message work? It's actually quite basic what it does. It's simply used for moderation to remove sensitive content or to automatically delete chat. Basically, it allows us to delete messages that people have sent, okay? Here we could basically exit the chat, the message, or the message ID, and that's it, okay? Then we could combine this action with another action, like maybe taking a member and changing their role, okay? Or even send a message to that person saying, hey, be careful with those types of messages, etc., okay? So that's it. Alright, how does the edit a text message action work? Well, basically it allows us to edit a text message that a bot has sent, right? It's used to dynamically update information, correct content, or show progress. For example, we're at 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, and so on, okay? And here we can see that we have several more variables, like the chat ID, message ID, and the reply markup option, which is basically an additional interface, right? It gives us an inline keyboard if we want. The possibility to add text, okay? And different fields like disabling the preview or parse modes, right? The parse mode is how we want to send the text, whether in Markdown, HTML, and so on, okay? So that's it, it's that simple. Alright, how do we pin a message in Telegram? Well, basically we have within Neo4j the option to pin a chat message, okay? This essentially pins a specific message to the top of the chat, ideal for highlighting announcements, rules, or important updates we want everyone to see. And that's it. If we go in, we'll see that the variables are simply chat ID, message ID, and not much else. Alright, how do we create or use the send an animated file action? Well, basically it allows us to send animated files like GIFs, typically used for bots with more fun or expressive interactions, and that's pretty much it. We input the chat ID, the type of animation we want to send, okay? We put here look, we can even put the URL of the animation if we want, and that's it. We're done, okay? How can we send an audio file on Telegram? Well, basically we send an audio message or a music file useful for bot that will essentially give us audio instructions, podcasts, or media content, and we'll have it there, okay? There we'll have the chat ID, we have the option to get audio, to get a replay markup if we want, and that's it. We'd simply put the chat ID, we can send the file in binary if we want, okay? That depends on the type of audio or audio file we're trying to send, but generally this will be disabled, and that's it. This way we can send, I don't know, a transcription, okay? Instead of sending the message as text, we can send it as audio through 11 Labs, for example, okay? How can we be sending a location? Send location, send location. Well, basically to send a location, it's perfect for bots that need to provide directions, event locations, or other geo-localized services. And well, this basically helps us to input the latitude and longitude here. We basically put here what would be the IP and the chat ID, and that's it. It's that simple. All right, let's see how the action of sending a document works. The name itself is quite self-explanatory, but basically it allows us to send a PDF word. It's a document commonly used for sending reports, taxes, fees, or downloadable resources, okay? So that's basically it. We send the document to the chat ID, and here we put the document file, either through an HTTP URL or through any other resource, okay? So yeah, it's that simple. Alright, let's look at one of the most basic actions, which is sending a text message. Okay, basically it sends a plain text message to a user, group, or channel, and it's obviously the most common action. It's ideal for replies, alerts, notifications, and more. If we select it, we'll see that here in add field, we can remove, for example, the n8n attribution, which is important. We can prevent people from receiving a notification for every message we send. We can set the chat ID and the text, which we'd obviously generate with an AI agent, right? So it's that simple. How can you send stickers from your Telegram bot using n8n? Well, here we have it with this send a sticker action. Basically, it says send a sticker to a chat, commonly used for reactions, engagement, or fun interaction. If we select it, we have the chat ID, operations, message, and more. And we have the option to add the sticker via an HTTP URL, okay? Or other options. We can add the option to disable notifications in the fields section, as it might be a less important message, so there's no need to notify people, right? For example, how to send a video through the Telegram bot? Well, basically we have the option to send a video file here, useful for tutorials, marketing content, or ads, right? And there we have the video, in case we want to send a trailer, if we want to show something, and so on. We put the tag ID, we put the video file through an HTTP URL, or through any other linkable variable. We can add a field, and as you can see, there are tons of options. We can set duration, height, video weight. Sorry, we can add a thumbnail if we want. We can add a caption, disable notifications. We can do... It's one of the most configurable options because we're sending a video after all. There are many options available and that's it. It's that simple. And finally, to see the last action in Telegram, how to unpin a message, okay? How to remove the pin from a message, how to unpin a chat message. Basically with this action, we'll be removing those pinned messages, all right? This is useful when content is outdated or needs to be replaced, okay? If we select it, it basically shows us the chat ID, the ID of the pinned message, okay? And that's it. We simply unpin it and it's done. It's that simple. So with this, we've explained all the actions, all Telegram triggers, and we can start with the good stuff, okay? The interesting part. All right, how are we going to create a super basic Telegram bot? Okay, we'll use ngrok and other tools. Regarding ngrok setup, we'll go through it quickly as I've explained it before, okay? But basically it's this, all right? We need to get ngrok, obviously. And once we get it from the website, Get started for free, we download it. Here we have the instructions, okay? Then we configure the auth token and HTTP. Since we're working on localhost, which uses port 5678, we have it there, okay? We put all this in CMD, alright? Modify the auth token with your own, then we open the link, okay? A link will appear, look, there for you to see. Right here, this link will appear. We get it and modify it like this. We type set webhook underscore URL equals sign HTTPS and this link an n8n to open n8n in localhost. And that's it, okay? Don't complicate things. Alright, once we have this, we set up the Telegram trigger and obviously we'll need a bot, okay? We'll go here on Telegram, search for botfather, and what we'll do is type /newbot, okay? We enter the name and bot underscore name. And here they give us the API and also the link to talk to the bot. This is the link, okay? To be able to talk to the bot without any issues, all right? So I already have my bot here, and well, how does it work? Basically, we have the workspace here with Telegram trigger, which updates when a message is received, okay? We can add anything else, but this is for a simple, super basic bot. It updates when we receive a message. It sends an action, okay? This send a chat action basically has the credentials to connect the resource, which is the message, okay? And basically the operation, in this case, the action will basically be to pretend to be writing, okay? And while pretending to write, we'll be processing through an AI agent with any model we want, whichever chat model we choose. I've connected Olama because I have it locally, so I don't waste API calls for testing and such. And finally, once we have it processed, we send the text message. We have the chat underscore ID here, okay? Now we're going to run it, execute flow, okay? And we're going to say, hello, how are you doing? Which is the biggest star in our galaxy. Okay, and now basically it's going to be processed, okay? As you've seen, it says is typing there. You see it says is typing, blah, blah, blah. And well, once it's, oops, look, this error appears because it's sent in HTML format and such. Well then, let's change the format, activate Parsi mode, set it to HTML, okay? Hit save. And then of course, since I haven't set up any prompt here, I've put the prompt directly in the message, so it'll do whatever it wants, right? But here, it would be better to configure it properly. And then it sends us the message, hello, thank you for asking. And well, here it gives us a bit of information about the largest star. And well, important things, let's start opening up here. We've already seen the Telegram trigger. Oh, we see the send chat action there, which we've already seen. The artificial intelligence agent, okay? So you can see a bit where all the variables come from, okay? You don't just make them up, okay? And here for send chat message, you get the chat ID from here, from Telegram trigger, go here to chat ID, drag it, and get the text from output, drag output, okay? As I said, we then have the parse mode for whatever we want, okay? And well, with this, we'd have it more than done, okay? It's a very simple bot, but well, it's to start getting us on track with Telegram, as I'll make more interesting bots later on. How does the edited channel post trigger work? Basically, this Telegram trigger within n8n activates when a post in a channel is edited, right? We can use it to track changes or to get updates from external recordings. What's this useful for? Well, if we combine it with the post trigger, where we'll be constantly checking for new posts, right? It's also important to check if that post gets updated, you know, because of course if it's uploaded but then not updated, well, it's not that great, is it? And that's it. The setup is very simple. We just have the trigger and that's all. Alright, we have here the edited message trigger, which basically activates when a chat message is edited, okay? This is useful for keeping edits or logs of edits, right? In other words, the edit history or to track actions the person is making. Got it? There's not much more to it than that. We connect the credentials and the edited message trigger, and that's it. How does the incline query trigger work? Basically, it activates when a user types something in the incline query bar, right? For example, at your bot and then type something. So it essentially uses the @ symbol to get result. And basically the bots return a search result without starting a chat, just through that at mention, okay? The trigger is basically connecting the credentials. We have the trigger directly, and that's about it. It's not too complicated. Alright, now we have the most common trigger, which is the updates messages trigger, okay? This Telegram trigger basically serves us when we receive a message in a chat bot, that trigger will start, okay? It will activate, and it shows us here. It's good for commands, for chatbots, or for message logging. The setup is simply to put in the credentials and add a message, and that's it. Today we'll be looking at the Telegram trigger for poll updates, okay? Basically, it activates when someone votes in a poll created by the bot itself. It's useful for collecting and processing information from that poll, right? To keep updating the votes and such. And well, if we get into triggers, basically the credentials can be connected here. As we're seeing, we connect the bot here, put trigger here, put poll, and that's it. How can we be sending a location? Send location, send location. Well, basically to send a location, it's perfect for bots that need to provide directions, event locations, or other geolocalized services. And well, this basically helps us to input the latitude and longitude here. We basically put what would be the IP and chat ID here, and that's it. It's that simple. How to send a group or a group message. Okay, so how to send it. It says it right here. This allows us to send multiple files as a single album, okay? Useful for galleries, product samples, or visual content, right? If we open this, basically the chat ID appears and that's it. The resource, message, and the operation to send a media group. And here we'd add the media, okay? What type of file? If photo or video, the file, okay? If we want captions there, okay? If we want to add a brief intro to the file, we can add multiple files as we're seeing, not sure what the limit is, but we're seeing quite a few, right? Or if we want to add multiple images and such. Then we can add fields to disable notifications, since we're sending many, to avoid being disruptive. So that's it, it's that simple. Very good. How does the send a photo message action work? Well, basically we'll be sending a photo with optional captions, used for products, images, instructions, visual alerts, or responses, okay? Basically sending a photo, okay? We put the title ID, operation to send a photo, and that's it, the photo file. We can add fields here, well, to put a caption, okay? To put a small photo caption, or caption rather, okay? We can disable the notification if we want, and that's it. It's that simple. How can you send stickers from your Telegram bot using n8n? Well, here we have it with this send a sticker action. Basically, it says send a sticker to a chat commonly used for reactions, engagement, or fun interactions. If we select it, we have the chat ID, operations, message, and more, and we have the option to add the sticker via an HTTP URL, okay, or other options. We can add the option to disable notifications in the field section, as it might be a less important message, so there's no need to notify people, right? For example,